doing?
Lucky they got me out. That's like.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry it's so late.
It's okay.
So I don't know if you've ever getting like a deposition or anything like that.
Not in a long time. So the last time I was telling you guys when you were here, when they peed in my washing machine, I had a video of that.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted me to email it to him, but I couldn't figure out how to email it to him in a format where it was small enough because it kept on telling me it was too big.
So I'm gonna give you a link for. This is gonna. I don't really know anything about that case, but I can.
Right. So I was just mentioning it because I don't know if it will process because like it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna send you a link that goes to our evidence, so it should work.
Okay.
You're not just gonna basically put it in an email.
I'll have you do it with me because I'm suck at that kind of stuff. So I'm not good with computers.
Yeah. Before we do that, would you be willing to sign like a statement? Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, 100%.
basically, we're just gonna ask you a few questions about.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be anything super long. It's just kind of
Right.
like why you called the police and what
Correct.
you heard, and then we'll try to get that digital evidence from you as well. So can you just kind of start from the beginning? Like you were, I'm assuming here, and
I was in my bedroom sleeping, and my son started getting restless, and I woke up to screaming.
Mm-hmm.
And Theodore next to me was like kind of freaking out a little bit, so I tried to calm him down and go to bed. And then I came out into the kitchen, and I heard what was going on. They were screaming back and forth. And I listened to it for a little bit because sometimes they'll do that and it will only last like a couple minutes.
Right.
So I like waited a little bit and then it started getting aggressive, and that's when I started to record. I recorded it until it kind of calmed down a little bit, and it sounded like one of them left because Daryl kept on saying he was going to leave, so I just assumed he left because it got quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I actually called the police station back and told them, don't worry about coming out because I think one of them left and it's quiet now. Not too concerned about it. And they said okay, and I went to go to bed, and when I got a knock at the door, I came out and he asked what was going on, if everything was okay, and I'm like, well, it seems like everything's
who
quiet
asked you
now.
what was going on?
The officer, I can't think, the guy who was
here
to
first.
tussle with downstairs. I can't think of his name. I think it was Benton or something like that. The guy with the dark hair.
Oh, Meabon.
Coulter? Yeah.
I have no idea. I've been losing you guys.
It was a sheriff's deputy though?
It was, yeah, it was.
Okay.
He was just like you guys.
Okay.
And he asked me what was going on, and I told him, I'm like, well, I called to tell him that you didn't have to come back because, as you can hear, it's quiet now. Mm-hmm. And I explained to him that I had woken up. Me and my son got woken up by them fighting because they came in screaming and throwing stuff around, and the walls were shaking, and the kitchen was shaking, and because when they get wild down there, my whole kitchen shakes, like the windows shake. It's just they're very aggressive.
Yeah.
And it's not the first time that they've done this. And
Right.
I feel like it's becoming regular lately.
Yeah.
It used to be like every couple of weekends or once a month in the summertime, and lately it's been like every other day.
So when Coulter showed up, he talked to you first?
Yes,
and
he
said,
came up and talked to me. At first, I didn't think they were coming, so I was in bed, like ready to go back to bed, and I heard a slight knock on the door, so I'm like, it's probably the officer.
And then at that point, they had like stopped for the evening.
Yeah,
and
they were quiet down. The officer came up and talked to me, and I thought one of them left. That's why I thought maybe it was quiet, because he kept on telling the girl that he was just going to leave because he didn't want to listen to her. And I'll play the video so you can hear it too. And he said, I showed him the video, and he's like, well, I'm going to go down and make sure everything's okay down there, because I was unsure at that point if Daryl had left or if he was still down there. I just assumed that he had left, and that's why it was peace and quiet down there. And he went down there, and he started talking to him, and asked him, hey, Daryl answers the door, and he's like, yeah, come on, Eric. He's like, I'm here because I got a call for disturbance saying that you guys are fighting. He's like, oh, no, we're not fighting. We just got here like 15 minutes ago. We're just watching a movie, and we're eating dinner. Which is a flat out lie, because they got here like an hour and a half prior to that. And the officer said to him, well, I think something happened, and kind of was giving him a chance to tell the truth. And he got kind of aggressive. Daryl got aggressive with the officer. And he's like, no, we were just sitting here eating dinner. We haven't been fighting, and there's been nothing going on, like really cocky to him. And I actually recorded what they said because I was like, bullshit. Because the landlord told me, because they evicted them after they peed in my washing machine, and they want anything that happens to be recorded so they can use it against them in court for any extra, like, just this is why we're wanting to move out because he's
Right.
stressing out the neighbors.
Evidence of character and stuff.
He's an aggressive person. Like my son is 4 years old and his dad's not a part of his life, and he's never really had a father figure around. And most of my friends and family have father figured him. So like the fact that he's getting woken up by this guy screaming all the time, I don't want him to think that's okay to treat women like that. And I don't want my 4-year-old to be a witness to that. It's harmful to his like mental, you know what I mean, as he's growing up. I don't want him to think that's okay for when you're in a relationship for a man to treat a woman like that.
Right.
And it's scary for him. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't understand what's going on. It's not something he needs to get woken up at 1 or 2 in the morning every night because they want to fight. They can't just be respectful of their neighbors.
Gotcha.
But he went down and talked to him, and they started, he, you know, more or less was like, I know what happened, you know, like, can you be, you know, tell me what happened, try to give him more chance. And Daryl started flipping out on him, and the officer's like, well, I know you're lying to me. And he's like, I'm not lying to you. And he started getting cocky after that. And he's like, well, I know for a fact you're lying to me because she has a video that's time-stamped with the time and the date on it of you guys arguing for the last hour and a half. So not only are you lying to me about just getting home 15 minutes ago, but you've been lying to me about fighting for the last hour and a half. And then Daryl started screaming at him and telling him to get out of his house. To get out of his house, you're not welcome here. Just like, actually, I'll show you.
So I mean, we have like his body cam footage of it. I'm more of just trying to
I'll
get
show you the video
like,
what happened before the cops came.
Okay.
That's probably the best way to just describe, because it started getting brutal, and I'm like, I'm just going to record it because this is what the landlord wants me to do. I started recording at 12:32 a.m. And this was literally, I was sitting in my kitchen right here. And I mean, it's loud. They were screaming at the point where I could hear it in my kitchen, sitting here in my kitchen. I actually got to the point where I opened the door and looked out the window.
Do you know the length of this? Like,
I think it's.
Because I'm pretty familiar with, like, you know, I've been here.
Right. I'm
like,
sure you've seen it firsthand.
Yeah, and I know that they just scream, and it's getting
to the point where it's more aggressive. Like, it used to only happen once a month, and it's happening like every other day now.
When you
and, like, you can hear smashing, and like it sounds like they're pushing each other against the walls, and like he at one point says, "You're hurting me," and then she's like, "You're hurting me," and it's just
right.
I don't want to wake up to that.
Right. Before, like, you called, like what you heard before you called, was it pretty much this?
Yeah.
So it was them.
It started.
At each other,
It started
yelling.
about 12:15, and then I started recording about 15 minutes in because it started getting. She started screaming and yelling, and just it's unnecessary. And I got to the point where I called you guys because I don't want my son. My son already woke up once to it. I don't want him to wake up again to it.
So that's pretty much why we're just.
And that's why I called you guys, because I don't want to hear this all night. I want to be able to sleep. You know what I mean?
And that's really all we need to kind of establish.
Right.
Is why you called.
Why I called.
So,
and like the main reason I called is because with Theodore, he's in preschool. He goes to preschool up at Sherman, and his bus gets here at 7:15 in the morning. So I usually get him up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So if he wakes up continuously, he's not gonna want to go back to sleep. And then tomorrow morning's gonna be rough. And I mean, it's not just rough for me; it's rough for his teachers because he's a little sassy.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how he's all boys, so he's like, like, I don't want to go to bed, or I don't want to go to school. I don't want to get up.
Yeah.
It's just not fun for me.
Do me a favor. Could you just? I'm sure you've already done this with the other, but can you give my partner your name, phone number, just so we can basically say this is your what you telling us this and all that. And I'm gonna come back up.
Like, even when I called the station, when I first called, I told them, like, I'm sorry for calling. I feel like I'm calling you guys quite often, but it's just getting out of control.
Yeah. All right, yeah. It's just your full name.
It's Karen, Caren, Nicole, Nicole, Hurlbert, Hurlburt.
And then just date of birth, and then full at your address here.
My birthday is I have the whole upper apartment, and then there's 2 apartments downstairs. And I think when they moved in, like there's like numbers, but we don't use numbers. And I have a PO box for my mail, so I don't even use the address that often.
Okay.
There's like occasionally that I have people that I can't mail to the PO box for certain mailings, and it's brought to here. But it's mostly through like the FedEx and that kind of stuff.
Can you hang tight? I'm gonna basically. Can you? Oh, also, I'm sorry. Can you give me your email address?
Yes.
So we can send you the link, and I'm gonna go do that, and we'll come up and verify it. Okay?
Yes, it's.
Okay. And we'll be back in a few minutes. We'll try to make it as quick as possible. Okay?
That's fine.
And what's a good
I'm just
phone
gonna take
number
naps
for you?
around, so you're good.
phone number 2.
Says Elysian Aura face painting and gems. That's me.
Okay.
I'm a professional face painter.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll be
I
back.
work kids were living. I think most of my kids act better than those.
Yeah, I think most do.
Yeah, I believe you.
And that's goofy. That door drives me nuts. Apologize.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you. We'll be right back.
Apologize.
Yeah, I did.